I'm Pete Bottomley with Coast Maine. I've been with the company since 2003, so I'm kind of an old timer, but I've been gardening a little longer than that. So today we're going to do a little utilitarian garden, a real easy, simple way to do a really quick bag in a garden so that you don't have to spend a lot of money, you don't have to take a lot of time. It's going to keep weeds out and be good for keeping out slugs and snails too. It's another benefit of it. You guys like my utilitarian shirt? My other one's in the wash. Alright, so now let's look at what we're going to plant our little garden in. This is Stonington Blend. It's the Cadillac of the Coast Maine line. It's got everything in it. It's got endomycorrhizal fungi, so those are great for augmenting the amount of roots that a plant has. It's a symbiotic relationship between the root and fungus. The fungus is getting something from the plant, gets sugars from the plant, and the fungus gives the plant extra reach so it can get nutrients and water. So that's in here. We've got kelp, which is full of minerals, and alfalfa, which is a food, nice organic fertilizer. Fishbone meal for phosphorus. Worm castings for more minerals and biology. Perlite to lighten it up. Dehydrated manure. Cocoa fibers, sphagnum peat. I mean, it's got everything in it. It's a great mix. Drains really well and feeds the plants for a long time. So you're good to go with this, especially when you're growing what we're going to grow, which is lettuce. I've got 3 different kinds of lettuce here. Of course, the more colorful ones have the most vitamins. That's what we're looking for. But I know some people just like green, so I'm going to plant some green. So as I said, this is really easy. What we want to think about is getting drain holes in the bottom first. So I'm going to flip it over. And I'm just using a blade to cut little circular holes in here. Don't need too many. I'm going to put 3 rows of 4. You don't want to make them too big because the soil will fall out, but big enough so the water can flow out of it. So as I'm putting these holes in, I want to just say that once you put this back down, if you were to put it on a real flat surface, the water's not going to be able to flow out of it. So keep that in mind. You may want to put it just in your garden, but if you put it on a flat surface like a tiled patio, the water's not going to flow out. We have to think of a way to lift it up. So I'll talk about that at the end. All right, we've got our drain holes in. Now, because lettuces aren't big, heavy feeding plants, we're going to put 6 of them in this one bag. So we're going to put 6 holes in. And I'm just going to put little X's like this. That knife's not very sharp. Out of the bag is incredibly good quality. All right, now we just tuck that back in like that. There's our first hole. All right, 2. You can see this isn't going to take very long either. Get right to the beer. So the area where our plants are growing is within a little sort of pocket, and that's why this is great for keeping weeds out. Weed seeds might fly in, but they're going to land mostly on plastic because your lettuce is going to be filling that whole area where there's soil. There we go. All right, so we're going to take 2 of each of these. I guess I'll just eat the rest later on. Oh, we'll take that one. It came out nice and easily. Just poke a little hole in, and then bring it back up with your fingers, press it down gently. Don't want to get it too compacted because then the water will run off. Put this other one over here. Looking pretty good so far. This is the mesclun mix. Well, this is interesting. So notice this one's kind of dry already. So we want to remember that when we put it in and make sure that this guy gets a little extra water. Or even you could water it before putting it in to make sure that it gets a good soaking. The problem with putting one in that's really dry is that when I water it, it might all just roll off this bowl of the ball of the plant. So make sure that's good and watered first. And this one's fine. There we go. And some green guys. This one's called Butter Crisp. Lots of nice healthy roots there, look at that. Okay. So, if these guys were in the ground, you'd be sort of looking at the surface of the ground all the time to see if you thought it might need water or not. Now that you have it in a potting mix, you're going to actually stick your finger in here and make sure that it's not too wet. And it's a lot easier to keep track of how much water the plant needs. You can even lift the bag and say, oh, okay, this feels, a lot heavier than when I first put it in, or it's getting a little too light, I need to water. Definitely you don't want to overwater these guys because you could get a situation where it's not draining out the bottom well enough and then the roots will rot and you've lost your salad. All right, let's get the watering can going here. I'm gonna push all the stuff that came out back in. We don't want to waste it. Tuck those under. Make the holes a little bigger. Like that one doesn't seem quite big enough, so we'll just get that knife wherever it went. There it is. Give ourselves a little more space. That guy looks a little floppy. I think he's going to be fine though. Alright, I'm going to water a little more later. Right now, if you're going to put it on a deck, this is something you might want to think about is that when we water it, there's a lot of compost in this, and what's called a leachate could come out the bottom, and it's a very dark brown liquid, and it can stain your wood or your tile or bricks, whatever you have. So if you're going to put it on your patio, which is a great place because you might want to keep it away from deer, or you might want to keep it away from slugs and snails, you want to protect the surface. So it could be as simple as putting a bag down. This is just a plastic bag, and then we talked about the aeration. And I'm going to put down a couple of pieces of wood so that the bag is spread out on those a little bit. A little harder with the wind going here. And now we can water it some more. And that's how easy it is. How long did that take? 5 minutes? About 5 minutes. So let's look back at this in a couple weeks and see how the garden's doing.